Greetings and salutations, fellow citizens of one world, one people. It is I, Eric J. Chuckie, joined as always by the boy.
Hey.
This here's the Two Nerds podcast, and before we get into talking about the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I felt like I had to do like copy there for a second. Like, I'd like to take a moment to talk to you about Patreon, which I would. If you give me money on it, I'll say your name, like Rob.
Rob is good.
Yeah, we like him a lot. I'll also set up some perks eventually, but like right now it's just one guy, so I'm just really nice to him.
So I guess that's the perk until that becomes infeasible.
Yeah, too many people to be nice to. No, I used to post like previews of my novels and stuff on there, some stuff about the role-playing game I've been working on for, I don't know, 35 years at this point. I put other stuff up. I don't know.
But anyway.
We do these podcasts in advance, usually, so I could give you advanced podcasts, if that's an incentive. Also, in the description, I wrote a book. I wrote 5, actually. But the most recent one, pretty good, and a good jumping on point. You can buy it there.
I don't really have much else housekeeping-wise, so let's talk about the Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
I think it's important to, for reasons that I feel are important, to understand the whole grasp of the story of our experience with this show, and not as a filler for time.
Oh, of course not. We would never.
To talk about how we sort of got into the show.
I watched it week to week. White didn't. I'll let him explain why. But I kept up with it pretty much as the episodes come out. I would watch it Friday night or Saturday, pretty consistently. And should we also get into like our initial like spoiler-free review here? Is that a good place for it? Do you think?
Yeah, it is. I called my shot on this one, and I'm pleased to say I was right. It's a Captain America movie that takes 6 hours.
I think at the end of the day, White's method of watching this probably would produce a more pleasant experience than the one I had.
Which is ironic, because that is the reverse scenario that we usually go through when it comes to series.
I usually binge watch, but I don't have that option.
I usually don't. I've got the ADHD, kids. So, like, sitting still for 6 hours of television is not gonna happen.
But I really wanted to watch this. I wanted to keep up with it. I don't really care about spoilers in this point in my life, but I just was interested enough to not want to wait. I didn't have an amazing experience with the first couple episodes of this show, and it kind of like dampened my enthusiasm for it until we got through the whole show and I got to see the whole piece at once, and I got to experience the whole of the 6 hour movie. I think if I had binge watched it, I would have liked this a lot better because I would have had less time to sort of ruminate on the first 2 episodes, which I don't think are the best.
Yeah.
Yep. All in all, I would say good series. Definitely something you can watch. It's not.
Unless you're blind.
Yeah, I guess. It's not required viewing, I would say. But it's less required viewing than WandaVision, it feels like. But it still probably is going to influence the next Captain America movie. Which is the thing. So I would say give it a shot. But binge watch it, though.
Yeah. My spoiler-free review is pretty much the same. I wasn't as disappointed by the first couple episodes, but I mean, I really called my shot on this one. Not necessarily like plot stuff, which is usually where I'm more prescient.
No, but you had the vibe down. It's a 6 hour Captain America movie. Yep. The first 2 hours are
setup, hard, kind of boring setup.
Setup, hard, kind of boring, doesn't work by itself setup.
Again, I don't know that I'd go that... Well, if that's all we got, no. But what a strange waste of my time. But, I mean, I think they're fine as standalone episodes. It's just, like, if there's anything you're not going to like, and we are venturing into spoilery territory now, so, like, subscribe, don't touch the fucking bell. Comment. That actually helps. More than just likes and comments. I understand that makes the algorithm happy. So, you know. I feel like if there's something you don't like about the episodes, and I think this is true for anything that's meant to be digested digitally. Like, we make TV different now, you know?
Yeah.
I think that if there's something you don't like about those episodes, having more time to get frustrated by it is not good. You know, we recently watched WrestleMania. It's been a long time since we really watched wrestling. And there's a nugget of wisdom I've taken away from Cultaholic, and that's let the story play out. Yes, this turn might be annoying, frustrating, infuriating even, but it also might be a great setup to a grander thing. And you're cheating yourself out of enjoying it through, you know, being upset in the moment. I don't mean that as an indictment, but, like, you know, it's kind of what ends up happening. If we focus on spoilers for Star Wars, if we focus on the fact that your favorite character, Obi-Wan Kenobi, dies, you don't get the other two movies. And that includes Empire.
He's right. He's out of line, but he's right.
I don't... Kind of the reason I'm playing for time here is I don't have a lot in depth to say about this show. Really, like, 3 major bullet points that I could talk about. Do you feel like you have more to say?
I have some stuff to say about this show. Nothing, like, super in-depth. The show itself is good. It takes a fairly nuanced and mature look at some serious issues that are too serious for the Two Nerds podcast. So we're going to be avoiding those, or at least I am.
I mean, there's no... I think the through line for us is it's not hard to tell our opinions. It never has been. But we don't like to dwell on it too much because we are not soapbox people.
Yeah, and also the world is depressing enough. I like to talk about good stuff.
Exactly. Even if the good stuff is a reflection of bad stuff.
Yeah. Like, even if it's stuff that could be improved, it's ultimately pop culture ephemera that I enjoy discussing.
Mm-hmm.
But
low impact.
The show itself, I think, has some real high points. Wyatt Russell does an amazing job as John Walker.
Yes.
And he's given just so much good material to work with. Just so many. He's given a very layered character that just he can take the time because of the 6-hour format to really explore various different aspects of a character who's only getting introduced now, and really like make him interesting and captivating enough that you want to see more of him, even at the end of the show, which is hard to do for someone who, when he first appeared, got memed on for looking like the guy from Up, and 1 million gifs of Harry Potter, how dare you stand where he stood.
I didn't have that, like...
I didn't either. I understand why people did. I really do.
You know, like, on one hand, I wish I was that passionate about something. On the other hand, no, I don't.
Yeah, Captain America is notably one of my favorite characters. I'm not that passionate. Chris Evans' portrayal of Captain America is probably the best version of that character. But I wasn't mad at John Walker, like, IRL. I didn't want him to 1v1 me in real life.
Well, and here's a great example of what I was just talking about. It's not like you had this rage in the first place. But if one did, if one of our listeners did, Ultimo Dragon in your many forms, getting mad about John Walker, they replaced Captain America, bullshit, I ain't watching this series.
You've just denied yourself so much good shit.
So much amazing stuff with this character. One of my favorite things about this series is how well they handle PTSD over multiple characters and multiple different ways to suffer through it.
And, multiple different places you can be in a particular hole. It's a very nuanced, very mature, very empathetic take on on that particular problem. And it is done really well through, 3 or so different major characters.
I also appreciate that it's not, propaganda-y. It's not preaching to the converted.
No.
It doesn't feel like a soldier movie where you might see this wonderful take on PTSD, but you're already talking to people who agree with you, kind of.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of Bill Burr's appearance on The Mandalorian.
Fantastic analog.
And it's a take you don't often see. It's a thing you don't often see portrayed so well and so empathetically from people who aren't already in the club, as White said.
Yeah, that's a fantastic way to put it.
And I really enjoyed watching it. And I enjoyed John Walker just as a man who wants to be Steve Rogers. And unfortunately, on account of Steve Rogers being a once-in-a-lifetime sort of guy, he just isn't. And that's a really interesting story to tell. Someone who's trying to be better, but at the end of the day, is just a guy. He's just a soldier. He's just like one of us. This is a big spoiler for the series, but I love the scene where, in a moment of rage brought on by the death of his best friend, he kills a terrorist, and that's bad for some reason. Joking aside, he kills someone who is trying to surrender, which is something Steve wouldn't do. And it's clearly treated by the show and by John as a misstep. He, does his best to cover for it. He tries to make it into something positive where he can, but it's clearly treated as something that he knows wasn't the right call. But he did it anyway because he's like us. If someone killed my best friend, I wouldn't be the best version of myself for the next couple days. So, it's a totally understandable, totally reasonable thing for him to do in the moment, even if it wasn't the most heroic thing he could have done, which is what he wants to be. Yeah. I love that.
The aftermath I really enjoyed as well, that he, snowballs in his fallibility. And that's another theme of this series, I feel like. Two major themes, I feel, is everybody's sort of shades of gray in this series. I've said it a bunch. I'm getting tired of saying it. I may never say it again. But it's also about fallibility. Everybody in this series fucks up.
At least once. And at least once to a reasonably severe degree.
And their reactions to it tell us so much about their characters. And John's one of those. Because the guy he kills did not kill his friend. It was just the closest guy who was in the party of people who killed his friend.
That guy was trying to murder him as someone else killed his friend.
Sure. I'm not saying this is an innocent man. I'm just saying...
but he's not he's not the Punisher. He is not inexorably drawn towards righteous vengeance. It was just vengeance. Mm-hmm.
And then he lies about it. And he keeps lying about it.
Because he knows it wasn't the right thing to do. He knows it was the wrong call. And he tells a version of the story where it would be the right thing to do.
And it's beautiful. Because if you can't see in yourself or someone else, obviously not about, murdering a man when you're chock full of super soldier serum, that seems a bit fantastic.
It's a heightened problem.
But, where you fuck up and lie about it. And... I love John Walker because he is deserving of forgiveness. He's
trying still. A great counterpoint to the other bigger antagonist for the series, Carly, the Flag Smasher, leader of the faction, the Flag Smashers.
Yes.
But she's Flag Smasher.
I think the difference therein is when push comes to shove, John does the right thing.
Yeah.
And when push comes to shove for her, she doubles down on the wrong thing.
And then triples and then quadruples down until all the other people who are also terrorists, that's the term, go, okay, you're getting a little tense for me. I might go?
Yeah. That's sure. We're going to be
one people.
But the principal characters, the arc I was looking forward to seeing paid off the most was between Bucky and his old man friend.
Oh yeah, I'm a little upset at how quick they pulled away from that. They showed the throughout the series. There's a storyline like a C plot of Bucky trying to make amends for being the Winter Soldier.
Right.
And he's not really taking that exercise seriously, in that he's not actually making amends to people he's wronged. He's using it as an excuse to fuck up all the bad people he helped. So at the end of the series, when he actually does go make amends to someone he wronged, I wish they'd lingered on that longer. I wish I could have gotten more of that scene.
I think it's kind of beautiful that we didn't. Because I'm always fond of Death of the Author in terms of an exercise in theory. And
in the absence of a real scene, you can fill in a scene that works there.
And there are so many that work there. You know, obviously Bucky isn't talking to him.
Yeah, he's clearly... They show
afterward.
a scene later where they're not hanging out anymore, and I mean...
But the old man's in a good place.
Yeah, he's still kicking it.
So does this guy freak out in frustration and attack Bucky? Does he
kick him out
forgive
of his house? Yeah, is there like an emotional forgiveness moment? We don't get to know.
And it's beautiful because that's the part that doesn't matter.
What matters is that he did the work.
Yes, and that he understands why he did the work. And you see that when Bucky looks at him and the old man is doing all right, and he's like, good, I did the right thing.
And then it cuts to him having filled out the entire book, so there's probably a bit of a time skip there, because I'm sure there's other people. But the scene exists to show Bucky actually doing the work, actually trying to dig himself out.
Well, and this reminds me of something you brought up when we were discussing it the time since, and that is something you really appreciated what they did with Sam. And his background actually coming to play in the series as a character. His background as a therapist.
Yeah, oh god, I love that scene. There's a therapist. Bucky has a therapist in the start of the series. They don't get along. She's clearly trying to use, like, very, very by the book, like, this works on everybody sort of therapy techniques. And, I mean, in universe, she's acknowledged as kind of a shitty therapist.
By herself.
Yeah. So, but the therapy isn't working. And then Sam, the guy who was prior to deciding he's just going to go be a superhero because Captain America, asked for help. And when Captain America asks for help, you don't say no. Was a counselor for soldiers with PTSD. So he is uniquely equipped to help Bucky Barnes. And he does. By being honest with him. By being forthright. By looking at him dead in the eye and go, stop bullshitting me. I know what you're doing.
And it's really in everything that he does when he is dealing with people who have some level of PTSD. Whether he's trying to talk down a U.S. agent, whether he's talking to Bucky, and it's not like it's a mode that switches on and the scene tilts.
No, he's constantly that guy.
Even when he is trying to understand and talk directly to the Flag Smashers, there is that sympathy.
Yeah, he's a very empathetic person, Sam Wilson, and that's consistently portrayed. He might not be Steve Rogers. He's not quite Steve Rogers. And they acknowledge that. As he puts it himself, would you want the super soldier serum? No. There's no hesitation when he is asked. He knows he's not Steve Rogers. And that's good. That's a good difference in character. He doesn't need to be Steve again. He needs to be his own man. And he's very empathetic. Almost to a fault. I would say it actually ends up being a detriment to him in a couple points in the series.
Yeah, there's a number of times, both like small points and large, where I think his greatest fault about it is that he also expects that empathy to be reciprocated.
And it's not usually.
No, it super isn't.
But I genuinely, and generally, both, like talking about positives. I do want to talk about something I feel is kind of a negative here.
Hey, man, this is half your podcast.
The lady who, Infus Nest, I don't remember her the actress's name. Carly. I don't feel like she is given this kind of material they gave Wyatt Russell. I feel like she is given a much more thinly written character to work with, and it comes across. It's a weaker part of the story than the Flag Smashers part of the story is just weaker than the rest of it. and it's the main like dramatic superhero conflict, which is an issue. I don't think it's bad. I just think it's weaker than like the personal stuff and the interactions between Bucky and Sam and even Zemo and like all of Walker stuff and the interactions there. I think specifically the Flag Smasher stuff is just, it's more thin. You can tell they didn't have as much time to work on it as the rest because there were rewrites. Pretty severe ones, as I understand it.
Yeah. Well, I think she did a good job. And
she did a great job with the material she was given.
Sure. And I think there is something to be said for the material we were presented. And I don't want to suggest intent because I have no fucking idea. But I like interpreting it myself, or the reasons I enjoyed it through what I was given is that we don't always get a lot of surrounding story on who these people are. The woman who died, who was clearly an icon to all of them.
Yeah.
We have no idea who she was, what she stood for.
She didn't matter in the story. She mattered to Carly, but she's not a character that exists.
But it's also kind of like an interesting thing because, you know, is what Carly is doing a perversion, or is that woman just as full of fire and zeal?
And, you know, there's a bunch of stuff around her backstory and how she got to where she is, and just like it feels very much like Carly Morgenthau is the villain protagonist of another story who just sort of parachutes her way into this series.
And I think that's accurate. And I think that's a portrayal I took. She is... the Flag Smashers are 1000% terrorists. So are the members of Avalanche in Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah. I mean, like, one man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter. It's an old saw for a reason.
Yeah. And I kind of like that, you know, as I said earlier, the shades of gray, the fact that even the greatest hero and the worst villain in this show aren't exactly 100% good guy or bad guy.
I'd say Carly, by the end, is about as clear a bad guy as you can get, because she's clearly gone off the deep end by that point.
But I also like that she's not, like, maniacal.
No.
This is a really, like, I also like that the story is doing something different. We don't always get the luxury of watching the literal birth of the villain like Ultron.
Yeah, she's a better main antagonist than replaceable man whose name I've already forgotten from WandaVision. You know, military man.
General Asshole.
General Asshole. She's way better than him. And it's not like it's bad. It's just the rest of the series is so well told that it feels, I can see the difference.
Speaking of being well told, I happened to think of this while we were talking, but you just mentioning WandaVision reminded me. This is the second Marvel series I've seen that exists.
Right.
And it's the second time I have, while watching it, gone, this feels really comic booky, and I love it.
They are really turning into the skid. This just felt like a miniseries.
Yeah.
This felt like a comic book miniseries.
It just, and I don't mean in terms of like, well, this idea is really out there, or this, concept is preachy. No, it feels like serial, sequential art.
It feels like serialized storytelling, because it is, and they do a really good job of adapting what have been standalone movies that are serialized storytelling as part of the grand 22-episode big series that is the MCU. Or however many episodes now, jeez. But this feels like just a very focused, narrow, serialized story, much like WandaVision. They're doing a great job there.
I'm still obviously probably going to like the movies. You know, they're good movies. But notably, very few times through watching Marvel movies have I said this feels like a comic book. And when I did, I usually meant because weird shit's going on and I'm here for it.
Yeah. I like comic books, so this is a good thing.
Yeah. I really enjoyed it. I miss being able to just like feel the pages and all that stuff, but like this is a fantastic way to get that vicarious feeling of enjoying a series of physical books.
And it's a distillation of the storytelling, because ultimately the stories in these series are usually way better than the stories in the comics, because the comics are a pulp medium. Mm-hmm. And these are prestige television. And there is a difference inherent therein.
I like pretty much everything that happened.
I have a couple minor quibbles, but they are ultimately, in the grand scheme of the show, if you take the whole thing together, quibbles. There are things that are necessary setup that I would have preferred at the end of the day be elsewhere in the series than like right next to each other back to back. But like in the grand scheme of things, they're necessary, and there's not a better place to put them. So I totally get it. I really love the Isaiah Bradley stuff. That is, genuinely that's really good storytelling.
It's fantastic. And I like a call to an existing character who they're probably not going to use.
No, they're clearly not.
But, like, that's cool. Why, hell, they can now. They can be like, oh, people relating to Isaiah Bradley, he's got a miniseries, the one he did back in the day.
Yeah, let's just do it. Let's do fucking Super Soldier Rambo. Great.
I forget what his comic's name is off the top of my head.
Same. I don't have it on hand, but it's great. That's good shit. And I hope so. I hope he's super popular and they get a recurring series. And I hope he time travels and shows up in the next big MCU crossover. Great job.
Why not?
I will say I liked the final episode, and I do want to gush a little about how much I fucking love Cap. The new Captain America outfit.
It's really good.
It's so good. It's damn near comics accurate.
I was having a shitty day. And I had just woken up. I was having one of those time to wake up, drink my coffee, and kill myself kind of days. And I turned that on because I needed to get through it. And that outfit came on, and man, my day did a whole 180. I'm like, nice!
I'm
here
happy
for it.
It's so good. It's damn near comics accurate.
Oh,
it looks
so good.
Amazing. It doesn't look hokey. They do a really good story-focused, MCU, established technology-focused way of getting Sam Wilson in proper Falcon wings for a change.
Yeah.
And I'm fucking 1000% here for it. I'm so pleased. And it's a little gushy, but I was so happy. I popped like wrestling style when I saw that.
I enjoyed them bringing back Batroc.
Oh yeah. Rest in peace, Batroc.
No body, no death.
He's up there with Mayfield. It's fine.
They showed him uninjured falling on the ground. That man was probably wearing a bulletproof vest. He got up and walked away.
Batroc's a leap out.
He got up and leapt away. I'm sorry.
That's right. Look, until Batroc's funeral scene, I do not believe he's dead.
Yeah. Because I thought he got blown up in that helicopter in the first episode.
I will say there is one piece of storytelling. If the Flag Smasher stuff is thin, there's one thing I think is actually kind of bad. Even though I love the story, I love the choice, it just doesn't make any sense given the order of things that happen. Sharon Carter as the power broker doesn't make any goddamn sense in the story that they told. I love it, I'm here for it, and I want to see more of it going forward. But none of what she does makes any goddamn sense in this show.
That depends.
Unless, there's a 9-head fantasy booking version of it in my brain where she's, undercover in the power broker organization and is trying to take down someone else, and that's why she led them to her golden goose to get him shot with man who clearly wants to shoot him with her and put a bounty on the party of people she's currently in. And then fought all the people who she hired to come murder the people she's with.
It's a good cover.
I mean, it's a great cover. Her cover is ironclad. And if that's all it was, if Sharon Carter was so confident in her badass ability that she's going to hire every bounty hunter in Madripoor, essentially come 1v1 me, bro, all you losers.
Honestly, she might not have hired every bounty hunter in Madripoor. She might have hired the ones that she thought were a problem.
Send out, specific messages, all of you are a problem, I will hire all of you. Now, all of you go fight these guys, secretly me, I'm going to kill all of you, sweep the board of all these people that are causing me issues, and establish my cover as ironclad with the superheroes.
Yeah.
That's a pretty 9-head play. But
I mean,
if they want to establish her as the power broker...
Yeah, if she became the power broker in the first place, you don't do that on accident.
Yeah. I imagine she was real butthurt about them shooting the guy who made the super soldier serum, though.
Yes.
Like, I'm surprised Zemo made it back to, made it out of Madripoor.
Zemo is my favorite Karma Houdini.
Oh, God, he just always gets away with it.
You remember the scene, I want to say Eurotrip, with the creepy salad guy?
Yeah.
That's Baron Zemo. Got his fingers deep in your salad. Oh, Miss Scusi. Nothing ever happens. Blam! Oh, Miss Scusi.
I thought about it. Baron Zemo has, in the MCU, the 100% best win rate of any supervillain, and it is not close.
Yeah, even's Ultron.
Ultron, Thanos, none of them could kill a super soldier. None of them got close. Red Skull didn't get close. Baron Zemo has personally or through his proxies killed like 10 at this point.
I love that they legitimize Zemo. I remember being so hyped the first time his name showed up on screen.
And then he was just like a soldier guy, which was fine. Baron Zemo in that movie is great. In Civil War, he is a great character. But he wasn't cool Baron Zemo with the cool purple mask. I remember being mad about the purple mask. And then he puts on the purple mask, and he's a cool, evil Batman with a butler and, like...
I love the purple mask.
And a code that he doesn't bend on.
Because why does he put it on?
Because it's fucking cool.
No, I think he has a reason.
Oh, yeah, in universe, he clearly has a reason.
Yeah, I
like, there's clearly a reason. He wants to establish some sort of thing of the purple mask, and so he can use it as a plan later. But out of universe, why did they decide that scene exists? Because it's fucking cool. Sure. It looked great in the trailers. Yeah. But I am so happy. I'm so pleased about Zemo in this. He's got a code, and he sticks with it. He has a moment where he could pocket a bunch of super soldier serum and become a super soldier. And he smashes it beneath his heel because he has fucking principles.
Like Bane stepping on fish.
There comes a moment when the Winter Soldier, who has earned his respect for being a man who didn't choose to be a Superman. He didn't choose to be power. He's not a supremacist. He's just a victim who happens to have these abilities now. And so he has Zemo's respect. And that guy's about to shoot him in the face. And Zemo doesn't flinch. He just sort of nods like, do what you gotta do. He's the coolest fucking villain in the MCU.
He's really good. He's really good.
And he through him or his butler, through his direct proxy, which is clearly his plan, has killed. Let's see. I think there's 5 flag smashers in that van that he blows up.
Yep.
And there's at least 5 Winter Soldiers that he murders. So like a full 10 super soldiers. He has a better super soldier kill rate than the entirety of the Nazis, Hydra, and Thanos' army.
I did kind of like that they mentioned Nazis in this series as a separate thing from Hydra. I mean, I believe they sprung out of them originally, but
they
we
were
kinda...
the Nazi Deep Science Division split
Yeah.
off into Hydra, who were their own weird cult.
But
Not good, but a separate set of guys.
I like coming back to that. Like, that's just... I like that it exists in our world a little more in that way.
Yeah.
There's only one thing that I actually really didn't care for so much. I like it, but it felt weird to me, and that was Val's insertion toward the end.
Oh, Madam Hydra?
I liked her presence a lot. I like the casting.
They're just setting up for the Thunderbolts,
Sure,
my dude.
they're just setting things up. She just felt not quite out of left field, maybe left of center field.
Like, it's Julia Louis-Dreyfus, it's Madam Hydra, and they're setting up for the Thunderbolts, and she got John Walker an outfit that it fits. So, I'm all for it.
Who could hate putting a smile on that face?
He's so happy at the end.
He is so thrilled.
He and his clearly loving and well-adjusted wife are so pleased that they're back. He's back.
Yeah.
And, like, I'm pleased about that. I'm glad that they get... I'm glad that the show didn't decide to make John Walker just a cookie-cutter villain. They respected the character from the comics and made U.S. Agent.
Yeah, I'm really excited about
Both
that.
the good and the bad.
Anything else you want to say, my friend, on the topic of this show?
Not on the topic of this show. I will say that the more I see of Loki, the less I am excited to watch it. But, like, Tom Hiddleston's amazing, so I'm sure by dint of his acting alone, I'll love it.
I'm at this point. They've got my buy-in.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
much
they
like
got
the
my
movies,
buy-in.
They're gonna have to fuck up pretty hard and several times in a row before I'm like, I don't know. They'll have to pull a DC.
Yeah, but like 2. They've earned
They've earned a lot of.
They've
goodwill.
earned a lot of loyalty. I'm absolutely gonna watch it. It's just much like I think it's actually a very similar thing to how WandaVision's million commercials burned me out, and I didn't end up watching WandaVision for like 4 or 5 episodes. I saw nothing from Falcon and the Winter Soldier, or as they reveal at the end, Captain America and the Winter Soldier. Still mean. Bucky doesn't want to be the Winter Soldier. Could we not have done like Captain America and the White Wolf? But fine. But I love that series. I think part of the reason I was able to watch it week to week is because I didn't see anything from it beforehand.
Well, and maybe this is a boon in disguise. Also, the reason I don't watch trailers. Part of it, anyway.
I think I might, it's not for spoiler reasons for me, but I think I might avoid the trailers for the MCU shows just because they make so many that they burn me out on the very concept.
Here's the deal. Extending this podcast past its natural life, but I do want to make this point because I say this a lot. What is a spoiler, okay? Is it that I'm upset that a plot detail has been revealed to me? Yes, but it's not that I have this knowledge that upsets me. Most of the time, the spoilers I get are shots I could have called.
It's that you don't get to have the reaction.
It's that I don't get to enjoy bleh. Whether that is the plot detail, whether that is the actor's first lines, whether that is a great exchange between two characters, the beautiful set design.
You don't get to have it naturally provided to you from the material.
Yeah. Instead, I see the whole show before it happens.
And, that's absolutely fair. I don't really... I think it's just, too much of one premise without actually getting any details. Too much sizzle, not enough steak.
Yeah.
I think that's my problem with specifically the MCU series. Because they do, so many trailers. I think I'm just going to have to start, not clicking those links. Because I feel like it's not positively impacting my viewing experience.
Yeah, sure.
But I don't really have anything else to say about this show specifically. I can't think of anything I wanted to go over. I do love the scenes in... I love all of the stuff in Sam's hometown.
Yeah, really
I love
good.
that the first time Bucky wakes up without nightmares, he wakes up in a place he feels safe and at home.
Yeah, I love
he's gonna he's gonna be those kids' cool stepdad.
I love that Sam says, "Hey, don't flirt with my sister," and Bucky says, "Sure," and then he brings an Oreo cake to their big party. That's subtext, ladies and gentlemen.
But I think we're all set here. Everything's better when nerds talk about it.